Okay. It's been streamed though, yeah?
I just checked and it's not on my end.
Yeah. I did put in the necessary.
Okay, that's fine. Just record it and we can sort that out later. We can upload it later.
Okay. Here, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek.
Yeah. Okay, so this course is aimed at when we say kids, it's more for slightly advanced kids. Not advanced, but the age range is between like 11 and 16. But we don't have any issues of kids who are younger than that, who are usually, or they're advanced and they've had some exposure to the Arabic language, i.e. they can read, maybe they can write, they've done a bit of Arabic before. And so that's for parents' discretion, that they know, if they know that their child can cope with the lessons, then we are happy to accept kids who are lower than the age of 11, as I have already taught kids along with adults, and those kids have kind of easily gone through the courses at the adult level. So getting back to the course overview, then what I tend to do on this course is to basically use Medina Book 1 as the spine of the course. So introducing basic Arabic grammar rules as the author of Medina Book 1 does so, but simplifying it and giving a lot more worksheets and exercises to do, and along with quizzes as well. So basic grammar rules. So this isn't everything that on the screen. It's not everything that the kids will cover. This is just an example. So they will learn the difference between masculine and feminine nouns, simple pronouns, adjectives, prepositions, numbers, and counting. So these are all basic rules, and this, by learning, so the intent teaching them these basic things is giving them a basic understanding of how Arabic grammar works, and also teaching them how to construct their own basic sentences, using masculine and feminine, using prepositions. What effect do prepositions have on nouns? So if the child is memorizing Quran, which most kids are at that age, they will actually be able to see the grammar in action whilst they're memorizing. So also, as we mentioned here, so simple sentence building, translating simple sentences from English to Arabic, and making up your own sentences. So this is going to be an ongoing theme throughout the course, that the kids will be required to, when I say kids, the youth are required to make their own sentences in both Arabic, and then they'll be given lots of sentences in English, basic sentences, and then with the vocab that they have and learning the grammar that they've learned, they'll be able to easily, hopefully, construct these sentences. Also, during in the course, we're doing a lot of vocabulary building, so learning basic but essential vocabulary around various subjects. So we'll cover things like bodily parts, food, colors, and general topics, animals, etc. So in order to build the child's vocabulary. So, and also we try to one thing that the Medina books focus on a lot, and what we will try to do in the course, is that the vocabulary and the grammar is all focused around enabling the child to understand the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ a lot better. So it's not just like passive Arabic where they would just be learning vocabulary. And so our focus is like it's grammar focused in order for the child to be able to, so when they're reading Quran and they're reading Hadith, the grammar rules and the appreciation of the grammar rules is highlighted for them. They don't just understand the ayah and the meaning, they can understand basically the construction of the ayah in the grammar form as well as the meaning. So I myself focus a lot on this when teaching adults, as I think it's very important that when people learn Arabic, that they gain more than just I can understand the meaning of this ayah now, but no, I understand the meaning of the ayah, but I also understand how the ayah was constructed. So when people understand how ayahs and ahadith are constructed, they have more of appreciation of the ayah and a more appreciation of its meaning. So this can only be kind of highlighted once learning Arabic in itself, and then it becomes a lot clearer once we come up on, like, for example, ayahs. And this is something all the students attest to at the beginning of the course and then towards the end of the course, that they mention all the time. I used to understand this ayah, but now I have a greater appreciation of the ayah because now I understand it in a far better way than I did before. So also we will focus on some writing. So every lesson will have writing exercises, whether in the lesson or a homework sheet that they have to complete. So this is something also when I teach adults, I say to them that writing is something that people lack. And so I insist that even if we cover just like one lesson, I say you have to have a separate notebook and you have to write the whole lesson out in that notebook. So it's like you have the notebook, which is, or the book which is printed, and then they have a notebook which they've actually made it like a carbon copy, but it's all in handwriting form. So also we'll be focusing on listening and reading short texts. So these are we will be selecting certain texts that we have in the other side books which accompany the Medina books. So these texts are basically I was thinking if I could show you with like a short text, but so these short texts are like, for example, like a paragraph or two paragraphs of a text, and the intention behind it is not really that the child or the student understands all the meaning. The intent behind that text is that the student can read it from the beginning to the end by practicing, and he's able to read it fluently. So they can read the text by joining all the letters and reading the text in the paragraph fluently without stopping. So that's what we mean by listening and reading short texts. And for example, listening, then this will be like homework where I myself, for example, will read out some sentences, and the homework would be for them to translate what they heard in the sentences. Okay, so these will be in various times and in various weeks. It's not like they're going to have a homework on every single thing that we've mentioned. Also, conversation drills. So these will be very short conversation drills based around different scenarios. So it's enabling the student of how to ask simple questions and how to respond to simple questions. What's your name? Where are you from? Do you have any brothers? How many brothers do you have? And then different scenarios, for example, in a shop, how to ask for the price of something, how to ask if they have something that you want, Also, maybe short conversation drills in an airport. So there's many conversation drills we can cover upon different subjects. So also hadith, memorizing short, authentic hadith. So this, we do this for a few reasons, is obviously to memorize hadith of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam just in Arabic. So they be, for example, very short hadith, like the Prophet Sallallahu. So they will memorize the whole text with the narrator of the hadith and where the hadith is collected. For example, they would memorize the hadith لا تأكلوا بالشمال فإن الشيطان يأكل بالشمال. So these hadith, so that hadith which we just mentioned, where the Prophet ﷺ said, do not eat with your left hand because shaitan eats with his left hand. So the point of these hadith is that they memorize a small hadith which is relevant to their lives, and then to learn the vocabulary from that hadith. So memorizing short hadith, maybe once a week, they memorize one hadith which is relevant to everyday life. So the required materials would be an access to a printer. So when I send out the worksheets, they must be printed out, and the child is to write out the answers. Or if you do not have access to the printer, then you as a parent should insist that they copy the complete sheet into their notebook and do all the exercises in their notebook. And then, so just to give you an example of how we do it for the other course that we are running, as we're doing a kids Aqidah course. Okay. So what you can see on the course now is that we have Google Classroom. We use Google Classroom for the course. So we have the Tawheed College of Aqidah. So this is the stream page. So here is where we notify parents and students of, so they get the link posted here every week just before the lesson. Also, any announcements that we'd like to make, we put it, we announce it here, and the students can interact by asking questions also. And then if we look at the classwork, as you can see here, previous lessons, we are up to lesson 11. So for example, if we go to lesson 2, so the format, what we have for this is that the sheet or the PowerPoint will be posted on here, so all of the students have access to the worksheet here. So you as a parent, you know that every week, every lesson, the topic is posted in this Google Classroom on the classwork, and it will contain the worksheet or the PowerPoint presentation. So so even if your child or you miss the lesson, everything will be here. So you will have the worksheet here, then you will have the actual YouTube. So this one here is the YouTube. You have the video, so you can watch and study the video on YouTube. And then you have the actual worksheet. And also you have the homework. So mainly the homework is done like in a Google quiz format. And this, we do it like this because it's impossible to mark like 100 homeworks every week, and kids often they often do the quiz just before the next lesson. So it'd be impossible for me to mark the quiz when most of the kids just do it like about 30 minutes before the lesson. So the quiz format is usually like multiple choice. What we can add, we will be adding like some short answers where they will write short answers. So this is how the format for the Arabic will look like. All the lessons every week. So they will have, if you miss the lesson, you just come to the class, you just click on which lesson you missed, and then you will have the worksheet, the YouTube video, and it will have the homework or the quiz for you to do. Okay, with regarding the cost, then I myself and the admin, we've discussed this many times, and our main focus is to keep the cost to a bare minimum in order that people can benefit. So, for example, this course is advertised, I think, £99 or £100 for the duration of 6 months. And if you take a look at what people are charging for Arabic and just general tuition, then some of the very astronomical prices. So this comes in under maybe less than £2 a lesson. So I think you would agree that it's very cheap. And as admin has mentioned before, the one-off cost is due to when we have allowed parents to pay in installments, then it's just been a huge headache for the admin where they have to chase up people to pay the fees, etc. And all our admin, they don't get paid for it. It's all voluntary, and they all are professionals doing working full-time jobs. So that's just a brief rundown of the course. So if there are any questions, then you can raise your hand and give you access. Or you can write questions in the chat. It's up to you. My 12-year-old son has been doing Medina 1 with you over the last 6 months. He's understanding the content, well, alhamdulillah, but he can't write and needs to practice his speaking skills. Will this course be suitable for him, or do you feel it will be too basic? No, I don't think it will be too basic. Because it will just be like a more thorough revision for him. And as it's a course tailored to someone of his needs, then, for example, you mentioned that he needs to practice writing and he needs to practice speaking. So this is something he will get the opportunity of doing. And also, when we do give the, so I think we are going to set up a what's it called, a Telegram channel. So the students will submit, like, for example, they will submit some worksheets for writing, and then I'm able to give them a audio feedback of their homework. So I can tell them where they've gone wrong and where they need to improve on. The conversation, yeah, so we will use some of the conversation drills from the Medina side books. Yeah, why not? Because we'll take from various books wherever it suits the subject. Yeah, so okay, the question, will the course carry on after 6 months once completed? So yes, hopefully after the 6 months, then there will be the phase 2 or course number 2, which will be the next level. So that's when it starts to get a little bit more difficult, where the kids will start to learn superlatives, etc. Okay, question, are there plans to repeat this in the foreseeable future when my kids would be more prepared for it? Yes, it all depends on the response as well. If there's a decent response to this course, then it shows that there is a need, so that when we finish, then we can repeat. Yep, so that's it. So yeah, sometimes if we introduce a course and there's not a good response for it, then for some strange reason, if there's not a good response, then we obviously we wouldn't repeat the course. But generally, this is something we try to focus on. That, so for example, we've just completed Medina Book 1 in 6 months, and then after Ramadan, the intention is to start Medina Book 2, and then not only start Medina Book 2, but we're starting Medina Book 1 again from the beginning at the same time. So we'll have Medina Book 1 and Medina Book 2 running alongside each other. Are the side books completed for Medina Book 1? I don't understand. What do you mean, are they completed? No, so whilst we were doing Medina Book 1 this time, we were covering 2 books. One was Qira'ah, which was reading, and one was Ta'bir, which was expression. So we've covered almost half, but because we've finished Medina Book 1 now, so today we have a lesson at 7. From today up until Ramadan, we are trying to complete those 2 side books. So we have, I think, 8 to 10 lessons before Ramadan, and we're going to try and complete the side books. وإياك.
Aki, I have a question. Do you think with your experience as a teacher that the children would be more conversational if they're among their own peer groups rather than being amongst the general adults? Do you think you'd likely to get a better response in terms of their engagement in class and the likes?
So if you repeat that.
So the question is, what would parents gain by going onto this course as opposed to going onto, for example, the free course? Yeah, well, it's over now. But say if it was going on at the same time, what would be the benefit? Do you think children of this age group, they will respond better and interact better with their conversational skills if they were among their own peer groups rather than being amongst adults?
Yeah, definitely. So some kids are, most kids are shy, but we do get some who are not too shy, and they get involved even in the when it's the adults. But definitely, if they know it's just their own kind of, from 11 to 16, then they come out their shell far, better, and rightly so. Rightly so. With regards to the 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 material, so someone's asking, would you advise students to try to get hold of the physical copies of the Medina series that are printed in Belgium, which contain the additional side books? Yes, I do advise that. To He's referring to a book. I don't know if it's printed. I think it's a French company that does it. So they have the Medina. We can provide everybody the link for it. It's basically he's referring to the Medina books. So there are 4 books, and one company has printed not only the Medina book, but all of the Medina side books into one volume, which it's an excellent print, and they're excellent books. But we're not just relying upon those materials. So many of the worksheets will be what I myself have written. So it's not really a must for them to have that. But those books are of a great benefit. Yeah, very, very highly recommended. And just so if the students are doing, let's say it's like 2 hours a week, 2 hours to 3 hours of homework, then also as parents, as I'm a parent myself, you have to be very realistic of how much your child is going to learn. As children and adults will thrive if they're in an Arabic speaking environment. So you can't just put your child on a course and expect at the end of the course that they're going to be speaking and going to be taught, like as if they're natives. So you have to be very realistic as a parent and a student of how much you're going to come away. One thing is for sure, bi'idhnillah, is that anybody who studies the course and they keep on top of the material, they do their homework, they're going to be far more advanced at the end of the course than they were at the start of the course, and they'll have a far more appreciation for the Arabic. And Arabic, one thing, if any of you have experience with Arabic, learning Arabic at the beginning is difficult. It's difficult, as Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he would say that Arabic, babuha min hadid, that its door is made of iron, i.e. it's difficult at the beginning. And he goes, but once you open that door or you get through past that door, everything becomes easy. And this is something I personally can attest to, that me, when I first started learning, I was 20 years old. and I was thrown in at the deep end. So when I went to Medina, I could barely read Arabic. So doing for me book one was the most difficult thing that I've ever done and ever studied, because it was my first exposure of not having any exposure to any other language, and then thrown in at the deep end where I had to learn a whole new language. And so I was constantly frustrated for around 4 months, but memorizing. So at the beginning, it was difficult. But then once I got past the first level, I found every other level after that a lot easier. Not just easier, enjoyable. And that all also revolves around the intention of the student. Why is the child, or why is the student learning this language? So this was something I used to encounter a lot teaching in schools. Many of the kids never had an understanding of why they were learning the Arabic language. So this was trying to instill in them the importance of the Arabic language, why they are learning the Arabic language. You're not just learning it because your mother or your father told you to go on a course. That we're constant, because we try and have the course revolving around the religion and getting them to understand constantly why they're learning, then they have a better appreciation, or at least they know why they're studying it. So if there's any more questions. Yeah. Okay, so if there's no more questions, then inshallah we'll end there, because we have a lesson starting at 7. Jazakum Allahu khairan. So I'll reward you all for attending. نعم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.